Hi guys, welcome back to Kenny Fan TV. It's been a long weekend this weekend. Hillary and Steve. Where should we start, man? Where can we start in this one? I think we should go straight into the recent game that just happened between Man United and Chelsea.
Mhm.
I mean, Van Nistelrooy almost got off to a great start there, but Chelsea happened to get that equalizer. I mean, you got your new manager set in there that's going to be coming in, but Van Nistelrooy, he's just interim for a little bit anyway. But you got the new
Yeah.
boss arriving soon. But today, there were some good signs. It seems like the dressing room weren't happy with Ten Hag the way United players were playing.
Well, first things first. Yeah, you can tell our formation is more attacking,
Mm,
even though we don't have like specific tactics. Like you can tell which style we don't have like a specific style yet. But then at least you can tell we're being more aggressive. We're being more tactical with the ball. You can tell a bit some patterns of play here and there. Even when we counter attack, you can tell we're counter attacking with a purpose. My only concern is the Garnacho Rashford Ahmad situation because you can tell Garnacho today was not up for it. The chances Garnacho was getting were just. We were supposed to bury Chelsea today. But then, Garnacho was getting into good positions, just that, he's still working on his finishing. I feel like Rashford should have continued on the left wing and let Ahmad come in on the right wing a bit early in the game. But apart from that, I was happy with Ugate's performance, the way he's been. I think we've been missing a holding midfielder for a very long time. And you can see having a holding midfielder, what it does for Casemiro's game. Right now,
yeah.
Casemiro is playing with so much freedom. He has time on the ball. And when he's on the ball with no pressure, you can see the crosses. I don't think right now United have a better passer on the ball than Casemiro. Very few players actually in the Premier League right now can pass the ball better than Casemiro. You can see even for the goal we made, the curve he had on that ball, the finesse he put to it. I feel like when Casemiro is surrounded by good players and he doesn't have pressure, he can actually put in some good performances. Defensively, we look sound as usual. We didn't see Chelsea had attempts but didn't have attempts on goal. We
Mm.
didn't see much from Onana today. That's because of the defense. Delete is just slowly, picking up his performances, putting in good shifts together with Lisandro. I enjoyed Mazraoui's performance on the left. Yeah, so overall good game from United.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better than their previous performances. It seems like they had slowly moving in some sort of direction. Chelsea's not an easy team. They were on a roll for a while. Steve, I mean, what's your take on this, on the United game today? I mean, it seemed like they're bigger improvements than the previous games.
Yeah, I think mostly I think it's all about the attitude. I think maybe there's something that was happening in the locker room with the with Ten Hag, because you can see at least there's some motivation in the players, but also it's it's it was a matter of salvaging a sinking ship for Ruud van Nistelrooy. So it's just salvaging the sinking ship. And maybe with the new manager, we're gonna see something different with his style of play. But all in all, I think also Chelsea gave up. They also put up a good fight against Manchester United. We see that's a game that has a matchup that has more draws in the Premier League from the history.
Mhm. Yeah.
So um, I think it was a good game. Though I felt like this player Palmer today wasn't really on his normal form. He wasn't. You can see he couldn't move around like he normally does. So meaning Manchester United did a good job in the midfield. But again, Caicedo really that is a top midfielder. You could see how his passes are very uh, they have a motive. He has good motive with these passes, and also he salvaged his goal for Chelsea for the season, and not really bad. So it was more of a 50-50 game. Uh, and the results tells it all. It was difficult for one to get a win out of that because they were really on the same level. A good match that I watched today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from Man United's point of view, and I guess from, Hillary will probably agree with this. I mean, it's almost like, starting from scratch again, new manager coming in. So I
Yes.
guess, the expectations will go back to the bottom again and giving this guy some time to start building up and seeing where he is. So, this season is really going to become a bit of a bonus for him, in some takes.
Yeah. But then the only challenge I'm seeing with the new manager is up front with the new formation, the 3-4-3 that is coming to play,
Hmm.
or the 3-5-1-2, whichever formation is coming. Um, I don't know what that will mean for our strikers and our wingers, especially our wingers. We have Ahmad, Garnacho, and Rashford, because we already have two strikers in Zaxi and Hoyland.
Hmm.
Hoyland is going to enjoy the new formation, but I doubt our wingers are going to enjoy the new formation because it's going to take much off of the game. I believe we have good fullbacks in Mazraoui and Dalo, who can play the fullback position very well if they're trained very well. I'm just waiting to see what happens because midfield and defense were stuck. Just that I don't know what will happen in the front three. Also, hopefully, with the new manager being announced, I'm waiting to see the next two games who's going to pick up their performance, who wants to play under Amorim, who's going to prove themselves that I deserve to be in Amorim's squad.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I guess we're gonna have to wait, watch his space, see what this new man's gonna come and see the players that are gonna get dropped and who's gonna keep getting played. All right, then I guess let's quickly move on. We'll give a quick shout out to Tottenham today. That was an impressive result against Aston Villa. I have to give that, even though as much as I don't want to,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but it's like right now, let's go back to yesterday's game. Arsenal. Hmm?
Oh,
Steve, let me start
oh,
with you on that one.
I
That
don't
was
know. I don't know. I think I don't know what's happening in Ateta's head. I don't know because uh, we were too dependent on the first 11 that we had, and also more so also too dependent on Odegaard in the fact that he was the engine of creating chances in Arsenal. And since his departure with the injury, we just suffering. We keep on playing from bad to worse. So it's just there's nothing to enjoy about the game. There's nothing to enjoy about Martinelli. Martinelli has just become too redundant. His skills, it just I don't know what's going on with him. Is one of the players that I'm disappointed in because
No, I can tell you what's going on here, but go on, continue.
he's it's just so it's disappointing. Then we have the likes of Merino. I don't know what that guy is doing in midfield. I don't know. He's just running like a headless chicken in the field. I don't know what's up with him. Because,
But you're
I
making
just
the wrong assumption. You're making the wrong, like you're pointing at kind of some of the wrong players. I mean, where you should be pointing at is Havertz.
no.
Uh,
It's how about I've been complaining about him. You know that.
you
And
know, and then
I
also the
just
tactics,
got tired.
also
I got
Arteta's
tired.
tactics as well. I
Yeah.
mean, like, where you keep playing three defensive midfielders in that position.
I get
Uh,
tired. I got tired. I got tired of complaining about Kai Havertz. Kai. You should just be like a super sub or something because you play that guy 90 minutes and he doesn't. I don't like the way he holds the ball, how he can hold up a play. I just don't like the way he plays at all,
the
completely.
problem is he plays too conservative now. That's Arteta's behavior this season. I mean, Arsenal defended well before because they defended
Yeah.
from the front foot. If you watch the last season's games, when teams had the ball, they will close them down quickly. They won't give them space. They'll try and get that ball back quickly. Now they try to play in a content kind of way, like let you have it, and with this arrogance that we have a good defense kind of arrogance. And I think that's coming back to bite him in some ways. And when you got some attacking players that all they're doing is just defending, and when the Arsenal have the ball, they're just not penetrating enough. And Havertz, everyone has just been blowing his horn about how great he is and the goals that he's getting. And then, people just keep pointing out to these silly statistics, little records there and there. But you just got to look at his match performance for like 90 minutes, you know.
Seriously, I
He's
smell
holding
something
of the
wrong in
ball.
Arsenal.
He's transition of the ball. It's like he's way below par.
You watched the game on Wednesday. You saw how pathetic it was in the first half because we're playing without motive. Too many passes that are so unnecessary. We don't know how to break the midfield against a team like Preston. We had to struggle for those three goals. It was nothing about the game because the person who actually what was changing that game was Waneri and a little bit of Jesus. Just that he works hard. And actually, yesterday game, lately the person who impresses in the Arsenal game is Thomas Partey. Right now Partey is just playing on a different level and he's playing out of position and he's playing good. But other players, I just don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's
It's
nothing
there's
out there.
something missing in the Arsenal game. Something big.
Hillary, when you look at this game and you see that game against Newcastle, I mean, one thing that really sticks out is, Newcastle had Isak, and he's able
But
to do
then
that.
you haven't beaten. Newcastle have won against Arsenal at home. Now this is the third season
Mm,
consecutively.
mm,
There was a time in the previous, I think one of the previous shows we did, I say that a good manager, for you to continue challenging for the title or winning the title, you
mm.
need to adjust or upgrade your tactics. Otherwise, the other Premier League managers will notice that you're using the same tactic over and over again. Now, this is someone who has been using the same tactics for 2 seasons and it worked for him. But now the third season comes in when now players need to be, rotated and all that. You haven't changed your tactics so that all the players or most of your good players are accommodated. Second, Arteta uses rejects from other squads.
Mm,
Look at Havertz, Sterling, Jesus, Zinchenko.
mm.
You see, these guys were brought in because they've been proven winners and all that. But then ask yourself, why don't these clubs want them? But then Arteta is bringing them in. Let's look at recently what Pep has been doing. When Pep is making a signing nowadays, it's a signing that is for the future and all that to so a player who will come and develop and progress. So does Arteta want players who are finished products, or does Arteta want to build players? That's a question that we also
No,
need to
I
look
agree with
at.
you. I agree with you from that point you're making. I also looked at those signings when Pep Guardiola signs players, he doesn't sign people just for the sake of putting them on the
Mhm.
bench or play them as a backup for someone's position. I mean, Pep signs players for the intention that they are going to compete for that position that they signed them for. That
Mhm.
they're good enough to take that position of that player that's already won you a title in that position, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what he does. Whereas like Arteta, you sign Sterling, but you don't play him. So my thought process is, okay, well, clearly you don't think Sterling is of the level of playing him every week. So why sign him then? You know? And
And then
then
you find Merino, like sorry to
yeah,
cut you
and
off.
then like
Merino was signed because of the Spain performance. So we're signing people off over tournament. We have players who just perform tournament wise.
yeah, but even in
Otherwise,
the
James
tournament, what did he
Rodriguez.
perform in the tournament? He wasn't the main
Exactly.
guy in the tournament. He just came and had a few games and nothing
Yeah.
else. I
If
mean,
he
the only
doesn't
the
have
only
a tournament,
respectful
he should be
signing I
signed.
can give him is Calafior. I mean, that's the only respectful signing. But then again, when you
No.
look at that,
Yeah.
when you look at Arsenal from last season to this season, like anyone could see that what Arsenal needed was a striker. They needed goal scorers. They needed more in the front position than we needed in the back and like in defensive position. And that's what he's gone for. And you can see why that's a problem now because we don't have an Isak. We don't have. I mean, every Bournemouth had have strikers that took us apart. It's like that took apart Manchester City. Like what I mean, Nottingham Forest have
Yeah.
strikers that's put
No,
them in third place in the league. Yeah,
Evra put it right. Evra asked, you let Tony go to Saudi Arabia
yeah.
and you let Osimhen go on loan to Galatasaray. Now imagine if you guys had Osimhen today.
Hey,
It would have been a different conversation. If you had Osimhen against the Champions League game, you guys won 1-0. It wasn't
Yeah.
even attractive. It was like, hey, it was a mere 1-0 game.
I
And then
always
next up,
felt I always felt that the fact that we were losing we were losing a creative midfielder like Smith Rowe to we we we
yeah,
we we,
Fulham.
we let's go Smith Rowe. We needed somebody else to be the number two for Odegaard, and we needed a
Yes.
striker. So how do you offload the second creative midfielder you have and then bring in Merino? It doesn't
Because you
add up.
guys thought the answer to that is because you guys thought Fabio Vieira would be your second option. But
Now he's
then,
injured.
yes, he's injured
Fabio
because
Ferreira
he's
is
no
loaned
longer
out.
at
He's gone.
Newcastle. He's loaned out.
Yeah,
When was Fabio loaned out? I even
He's
forgot
loaned
about him.
out.
I
Damn.
He
even
loaned
forgot
out back to
about
Portugal.
Fabio. You see?
Huh?
So that's now my question. Is Ateta bringing in players who are finished products? Is he bringing in players because of names, or does he also want to develop players as well?
I know. I think Arteta. He's one of my friends recently told me he's a Liverpool fan, and he kept telling me like this manager's a pagan. He goes like he's deep heartedly he's a defensive manager, and now he's finally realizing that, and that's what we're seeing this season. We're seeing a very conservative,
Hmm.
arrogant manager who thinks what he achieved the last few, even though it's nothing achievement, but he feels like it's giving him the right to try and behave in a certain manner and act. And I guess, there's a lot of fans out there that are going to complain, and they support him a lot. But my argument always was, even when I wanted him, I didn't want him, but then people came back to me and said, like, look, see, now we finished second. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm willing to admit that, okay, he did proved me wrong in some ways, but he still didn't win the title. He still didn't win a major trophy, you know? So you can say and get excited about it, but now it seems like this season is going to be a bit of a reality check. And, I think we're going to have to move on from that, Steve, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah,
what,
actually,
what
I
they're going to
think
be
this
doing.
season he might finish in the worst position this season because actually being number two in the Premier League twice could have been already a lesson enough for him to learn because he should be a manager who has already learned from the past two seasons that you've been number two twice. You should be a manager who has already known how to win the league after being number two twice. This season it could be showing some winning mentality, but now that has disappeared within the first 10 games. We don't believe in him again.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean
see that
yeah.
happening.
I
The
guess
first
I
ten
guess we're gonna have
games,
to watch the space and see
for
how
real. I
how we're
have I
gonna
have
do
no
it.
hope with us. I have no hope with the team.
All right,
None at
then.
all. Because
Okay, then let's
I've,
let's
I've I've been
let's
patient enough.
let's leave Arteta alone, and he's struggling little boys until they see
Yeah.
what they do next time. Let's just quickly touch on two games that also took place. One was Liverpool that had their win against Brighton. That was a tough win for them.
Yeah.
But they came through it, and they're showing their title credentials right now.
Well, Liverpool, you can tell that Liverpool don't need many chances right now.
Mm.
Liverpool
They've got
just
quality up
need,
front. Yeah,
yeah, they don't need many chances. And the good thing about Liverpool is they're able to give every player a chance. So it doesn't mean that if you start today, tomorrow you're going to start automatically. Because look at Diaz and Cody Gakpo. Diaz was in red hot form when the season started, and then after international break, Gakpo came in, and now Diaz is a sub.
yeah.
In another team, Diaz would be starting every single game.
But I like what
Yeah,
Slot is doing right now.
yeah.
You can see where he's in place in there. He's slowly made Liverpool quite hard to beat right now. He's made them very difficult club to beat right now. And I think I mean, they're only going to be looking up. I think, of course, it's still a bit too early. Some Liverpool supporters don't want to be getting their hopes up too quickly because, they all know what City is about and what they do. And but I still think like for a new manager to come in and do so quickly, so well, it's an impressive work.
I think we've only had two managers do that, Conte and Mourinho.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this is a good space Liverpool
That
are
that'll be
in.
a big statement for him
Yeah.
to come here and win the title with Liverpool in his first season. Wow.
And
After
then we can't have
after
him. I'd
Klopp after
rather,
Klopp was sitting here for the last 4 years and couldn't do it.
yeah.
That, huh?
But then as a United fan, we can't have Liverpool tires on the number of league titles. So I'd rather City win their fifth or even Aston Villa just give me something other than Liverpool and
Nah.
Arsenal.
Yeah, they're gonna
I'm just
be
happy that, Arsenal lost. We drew with Chelsea. City, I don't really care much about City because,
Arsenal
well,
don't
I
matter.
don't know
Yeah,
any
I mean
City
Arsenal,
fan.
Liverpool don't matter. I mean, yeah, City, great point. Let's Steve, let's get to
I
City.
think Abdi about the Liverpool team.
Okay,
Yeah,
Liverpool gone.
yeah. I think that manager it's going slow is going to get a few more wins because I think people are yet to understand how he plays,
Hmm.
and that the players are comfortable with him. I thought that Liverpool would be in a state whereby they'll be missing their manager a lot. But now I think with these wins they keep on getting each week, they're getting more confidence, and it's also giving the players confidence, a lot of confidence. And you see, still like they have the likes of Salah, quality player. That hope, so when they get that hope, and these are the first 10 games they've only been beaten once, I think it's going to play a really big part for them. And I think they're in a very comfortable position if they keep on having that mentality. Now they're on top of the league. That mentality, they can stick there because now it's all about maintaining to be there because we're losing points. City are losing points right now. Nottingham Forest are number three.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my! Don't get me
It's
started
going to be
with my
interesting.
man. That's
Yeah.
the manager that I was crying for when Arsenal hired Arteta. That's the guy. That's the guy I wanted. I mean, look what he's doing in Nottingham Forest. It's an amazing job.
Yeah.
But getting back to that, yes, I mean that is a great point you made about Liverpool,
Mhm.
how they're moving. But guys, Manchester City, yes, they lost to Bournemouth, 2-1. It's almost like they had a little bit of a hangover from the Ballon d'Or for Rodri. They sort of forgot about a little bit forgot about this game. But
They went to
it's
party.
Manchester City. It's normal. It happens. They'll pelt you. They'll pelt you. And then sometimes these games happen. Where the teams just they just get that those goals go in for them, and the tactics just work for Bournemouth that day. I mean that's how I see it.
Yeah. I think
But I
it,
wouldn't, but I wouldn't count
Bournemouth
those
is just
guys.
good.
Huh?
They were, I think Bournemouth were just like the game, and even if they beat us with a red card, I think Bournemouth are the team that keeps on pushing and hoping for a result at the end. They don't give up. That's one thing I like about Bournemouth and how I've observed their games lately. They just keep on pushing, wait for that moment, and just take the chance. They're just a team who are playing with nothing to lose. They come at you and you sleep a little bit, you're beaten. They're just
Yeah, I
playing
mean
with.
they put Arsenal to the sword with 10 men, so clearly they did City with 11 against 11. So
Mm.
you can't it makes the Arsenal one more inevitable, doesn't it, Hillary? Yeah.
Man.
So we lost you there. You back there, Hillary? Yeah. I guess we lost him, lost it, no problem.
Yeah,
No, but I think from City's point of view, it is major points drop, but I don't think they're going to be too concerned about that. I think it's still early days to be counting anything right now. But from the rest of the league and the way things are going, I mean, wow, it's uh it's looking pretty good for the Premier League at the moment. It's quite competitive and it's quite more. It's not as predictable as it was kind of last season with two teams
yeah,
being quite predictable and week in week out going for everyone. I think it's becoming very clear that it's not going to be easy to win games this season because it seems like
yeah,
the rest of the teams are really up their games this season.
yeah.
Okay, just quick note, guys. I wanted to touch on just one topic I want to talk about just quickly, and that
Mhm.
was your views on Rodri getting the Ballon d'Or.
I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, he was the best. He's the best. Okay, when people say attackers, play attractive football,
Yeah,
but then we've seen season in, season out, the most difficult position to play has always been Rodri's position.
yeah.
Every team has been looking for that number six, and he has played that role perfectly, season in, season out. For is it 2 or 3 seasons right now?
Yeah, I mean, considering he's got a crazy record of like
Yeah,
how many games he hasn't lost under the playing under City,
yeah, yeah. He's only lost one game.
like
Which game
50
was it? I can't
something. Like,
remember.
yeah,
But
it's,
yeah,
it's got crazy. No, for one, I'm very happy. I'm happy he won it. I think he was did deserving of it. I was definitely not thinking Vinicius Junior should be getting that award.
and even to add to that, Bellingham was Madrid's best player last season.
Mm,
Bellingham had the same, if I think, almost the same amount of goal contributions as Vinicius last season. He
yeah.
was the best player last season. So I don't know why people have been shouting Vinicius all of a sudden when the season ended, people were shouting Bellingham. So I don't know how it changed to Vinicius,
The thing is,
but
the thing is, I
still,
think I think we overlooked. Most people overlooked Rodri because of the position that he plays.
Position, yeah.
Yeah, and then you
Mhm.
see, it's always been like this. The media always gets us into confusion because they're always
Mm.
talking about Vinicius, Vinicius. So it was just in the mind of people. Then when we came, it was Rodri. Everyone was disappointed. Like, what? We didn't say this one coming. They forget that there's something called stats. When you go back to stats, Rodri deserves it because the stats speaks out for himself. Because Vinicius is good, Bellingham is good, but you see there is the hype in the media and the hype everywhere when you talk about one player more than the other. It creates an image
Yeah.
on the fans. So I think when you go to stats and the way they've been performing, then I think Rodri was just among the contenders, just like any other player.
But but also another good thing about this, like Rodri is only the second player to uh to get this, like to get this award. No, actually, I think no, Michael Owen did get it, didn't he, when he was at I think Liverpool? Yeah. So actually, yeah, outside of Owen and Cristiano Ronaldo to get this award playing in the Premier League.
yeah,
So
in the
that's
Premier League, yeah.
also a big deal for the Premier League as well, even though Pep Guardiola doesn't really manage. I think this is only the second player Pep Guardiola managed that got this award. Before, it's only Messi that got it under him. No one else, or even though he had big players under him. But guys, I think we run out of time, but it was great weekend of game. Big improvements for Manchester United. Arsenal, Arteta, another bad week, Steve.
Mm.
We're gonna we're gonna have to see how the European games come along
Yeah.
for them, But I'm still thinking Champions League is their best option for a big trophy. Forget about the Premier League. That's the way I see it, guys.
You should forget about the Premier League.
With Champions League.
Yeah,
Think about the FA and
that's a better
Carabao.
option. All
Think
right,
about
guys.
the FA and Carabao.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.